Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video in my YouTube tutorial series of how to create a microservice. Last time we successfully made a API that posts a comment towards an event bus in AWS, and today we are going to grab those events from the event bus through the adapter and then store them in the database. So basically what happens is that we will, at the end of the video today, we'll be able to literally post a comment towards the API, and then immediately we'll be able to fetch that comment in the API as well, because in the background it will go towards the event bus, the adapter will pick it up, it stores it in the database, and the API can grab it immediately from the database. So that will make this whole whole architecture done within seconds, full circle. So that's pretty cool. I hope that's going to work today. It will be a shorter video because we only have to implement the AWS bundle in the adapter. The rest of the code is almost done. So I think we will be done pretty shortly. That being said, I received a lot of comments lately from people asking me to update upload the code towards GitHub or Bitbucket, and I've done that. So if you go to my website, dannyearens.com, you will have this website. This is my personal homepage, and I have made a projects page on that with the API comment link. The adapter I will update after this video. So when this video will be online, the code for the adapter as well will probably be on this page as well. I will put a link in the description towards my website, so you can always check out. And if I make more projects and live stream stuff and put it into a repository or anything, I will update this page, so everyone can always check out my website and check my stuff there. So that being said, last time we made this update in the API, we had made this test that posts a comment on the event bus. So let's run it again. It works. That's beautiful. I already created a new user for AWS with a new secret, so we don't have to do that today. So if we start polling, right now you can see there are 3 messages in the bus. When I poll for new, it will say, hey, there is 4 because the same event went back because it's not catched yet. And there is a new one with a new ID that just got posted. So right now we can see these messages. These messages will have this content in it, and we will have to make sure that in the adapter this specific event will get fetched. So how do we do that? We go to our adapter, back to our adapter. We already have this test. Everything we've done in, I think it was part 2, creating the handler. We've made this handler. It will actually put up a request into the handler. Let's fetch it. And this handler gets an event. It deserializes the event towards the JSON file, and then deserializes it to a comment entity, and it will save that. So how does this event look like? Let's check it out. This event looks like so. We have a data, we have user ID, we have a topic ID, we have the comment. So let's check out if the event from AWS is exactly the same. So we check this out, and we go right here towards the event. Where is it? There it is. Message. Let's actually grab the whole event this time, just to be sure. And let's go in here. And let's create a new Scratch file. You do this by, I think it was Control-Shift-N, but it's not. Maybe it's Command-Shift-N here. No, what? Option-Shift-N. No, what? Hang on. New Scratch file. On Linux, this is different. Control-Alt-Shift-Insert. God damn. Wow. All right. and it's a JSON. Let's put it in here. Let's get rid of this real quick, and let's get rid of this real quick because we only care about the message itself, which is this part. We get rid of that. I've done this before, so I pretty know what I need to remove. It's only about the data here. And then we refactor this a bit with edit, find, replace. So Control R. And what we want to do is we want to get rid of the backslashes. There we go. Now we got a valid JSON according to our editor. And let's beautify this a little bit. So we go to code and then reformat code, or Control Alt L, and it will create this. And if you look at this signature, then you will see in the request, well, it's not exactly the same because I referred to the topic ID and the user ID. So what we can do is we can actually, in our request, do this as well, see if our test still works, and if it works, then we can be happy because it will work. So let's run our test. It works. I'm happy. So we don't need to refactor anything because we made the event already the signature that we wanted to have, which is beautiful. Next thing, we want this event to actually get caught from the AWS event bus, or SQS. So we have to install the bundle again that we installed last video as well, to fetch this time the messages instead of pushing a message towards. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our terminal. We're going to, I think this one, yep. And then in this, let's clear this. I am in a new branch, I think. I am, beautiful, okay, clear. Then we are going to implement the Symfony bridge again. So packages, Envara, simple bus AWS bridge bundle. Let's get that again. Install this. And after that, we have to do some configuration. So now it's installed. When we go back, you can see that the I have to create that file. So we have to create manually that file. So I have created it now, and it's empty. And what you want to do right now is you want to check out the configuration like this. We get it, we paste it in here. And then we don't need the topic because the topic was last video. We're actually going to fetch the queue this time. And we don't need to put the credentials in here because we can actually put the credentials over here. I think I have to do this. And I think this has to be like that. Am I right? There's an error in here. This should be a semicolon here. Anyway, let's go back. I think this is correct like so. And then let's take a look at the environment variables that we put into the API. So I go to API, I go to the simple bus bridge AWS. We got this thing going on. The topic we don't need, but we do need the credentials. Funny. Like so. Okay, now we got the three most important stuff right now. And so this is the key, the secret, and the region. And we also have to define the queue URL. So let's say this is AWS queue ARN. And I think this is it for now. If we miss something, we'll check it out later. So we got to put this environment variables in our .env. So what I usually do for that is I copy paste them in here, get rid of all this crap. There we go. Put it over here and then just copy paste the environment variables that I need. Replace me. replace me, replace me, and the qarn. Replace me. All right, so now we have this thing working. So we need to get this stuff into our testing environment, and we need to replace these values with the correct values. The region is, of course, the same. It's EWS 1, I believe. The qarn, we can check that out in AWS. So I checked AWS, and the Q URL is this right here. And then we go to AWS. And now I've found the AWS secret and key as well, so I place them over here. And now we have these environment variables set up. So we shouldn't be have to go back to this again. All right. Next thing, we go to our services, and we have to define which event the data store handler actually needs to subscribe to. So you can see this over here. This is our current data store handler, and it has a tag. It doesn't have anything coupled to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to say towards the serializer, not the serializer, sorry, wow. We tag this service so it listens to events from specific namespaces from the queue. That's what we're going to do right now. So you say, I want a tag, and it's easier to do it like this because the name is an event subscriber. This is something that is within the AWS bundle. And the subscribes to is literally the name of the event that we are going to listen to. This is literally the namespace that's submitted within the event. Now, the important part is that we have to create this event for this serializer in exactly the same namespace, because when we submit an event with a specific namespace towards the event bus, then the same library will listen towards events from the same namespace as well. So we have to, for now, create literally a class with this namespace. The way we usually get around this is we create a vendor package in Composer for our events. So then we have always the same namespace. You just have to Composer install that event package with the event namespace and the event declaration in it. And then you can always use that event across multiple microservices. For now, I will just make this class literally in this namespace as well. So we got to do this literally for now, which is app, which is my source folder. We go to comment, domain, value object, and I see that I already created it because I prepared this part. So, but normally you would like create a new file, new class, and then you put this in that value object. You don't really have to test this because there's literally nothing to test. You don't want to test PHP if you can actually, get the data back. So that's so yeah, this is a private data, and we have a get data, which actually extracts the data from the event over here and just have a topic ID, a user ID, and a comment ID. We want to make that a comment. So after the comment uploaded event, we also want to have a comment file. Comment value object. And this is the funny part because this is almost the same thing as the entity again. But the difference is that this is literally the data transferable object, or the DTO, from the event. It's literally, this is the envelope, and this is the message from the envelope. And the message can be different than what we want to store in the database. So that's why you have a separate value object and a separate entity. For now, this is like almost equal. So I'll just make it like this. And we don't have an ID though. And the deserialization process will fill this by reflection. So we don't have to create getters and setters yet. We probably will have to create them to fill the entity, but we'll see what happens. So back to our handler. You can see we have this event get data thing. The event get data will return a comment now. And this comment is a value object, so you don't have to declare the namespace. But we still miss something, because what we do miss is we need to tell the serializer that we need to deserialize the event back towards an absurded event. So what basically happens is when our API pushes an event towards the event bus, the bridge bundle, the Symfony bridge bundle, will serialize it towards a JSON. The JSON you saw that we actually stripped to get our event. The library, when fetching events, does the same, but it uses a JMS Serializer to actually convert it back towards an event object for us. So what we're going to do here is we tell JMS Serializer that it needs to convert the data back towards this event, and this event has a comment in it, and it needs to get the information towards, it needs to deserialize the information in the data towards a comment value object. So that's what we're going to do right now. We have this value object over here. We have this comment absurd event serializer XML. Normally we should make that. I think this is already made because, yeah, we already made this because we actually did that for the entity. But now we want to actually refactor this so it uses our value object. So right here, if we go to JMS Serializer, we already have this value object namespace and we have this entity namespace. All right. So this is for us pretty lucky, because if we see this namespace app comment domain value object, then when we go back to our services, we have also this app comment domain value object comment absurd event. So that's lucky for us. We don't have to specify a different deserialization process just for the event. But however, we can refactor it to use the new value object instead of converting it straight towards the entity. You want to do that little separation because you don't want to depend on your event to always be exactly like your entity, like I said. So let's do that real quick. Let's create a new comment.xml. And in here, we specify that we don't want the entity, we want the value object. There we go. And this is exactly the same thing. So we can copy paste that pretty much in here. And we just have to change this to value object. So now when a comment absurd event is being handled by the handler, over here, it will retrieve a comment value object. When I say I want event get data now, it should give me back my comment already. So let's just test this out. I mean, I can make a debug point right here. So let's say comment equals $data. I don't know, I don't care. Let's put a breakpoint over here so it stops over here, and then we can check out $data. So let's run this test. Where is it? I always forget where the test is, you know. Let's run this, but not like that. We want to debug it. It should get over here. And then we can see what $data is. $data now is a value object with comment data right there. So basically we don't have to deserialize this anymore. We can just easily fill the entity now with the data from our value object, which is a little nicer, I believe. So let's do that right now. Let's just say, okay, you know, let's get rid of this. And let's say dollar comment entity equals new comment, and that's an entity. And this thing now wants no constructor, so we are going to create that. You could also, since like for a comment, basically everything is mandatory except the ID. So let's put a public function construct, and let's say this user ID equals user ID, this topic ID equals topic ID, and this comment equals dollar comment. Put that in the constructor, so string dollar user ID, string dollar topic ID, and string comment, like so. And then we go back to our handler, we say new comment, and then it's simply comment get user ID, comment get topic ID, and comment get comment. Funny thing is, you see me writing this, but I'm not making any tests so far. Why am I not making tests while I do test-driven development? Well, simply because I already created tests for these specific functions, and right now if I run my test will fail, and I need to fix that test. So basically my testing framework is already done and set up because the methods that I currently create and use are already tested, except for the methods within the value object. So if I get these getters, so public function get user ID string. These getters are not being tested right now. You could do that if you want to. The thing is, I usually just create tests for value objects when the value object has more business logic in it than just plain getters. Because for now, I feel like if I'm going to test this, I just test if PHP works. And PHP should just work. Topic ID. So if I want to test this, I just test nothing. When, for example, there we go. When, for example, the user ID should be like a string of maximum like 32 characters, and you have like logic in this in your constructor that says, this user ID should not be bigger than 32 characters, then that's the moment that I start creating tests first for the comment value object, because then there is a specific business logic within the comment that needs to be tested. For now, this is just a plain getter function, so yeah, don't overdo it like that. It's just unnecessary. That being said, now we have an updated handler. Why is this not working? Oh, because I need to put a comment entity in here. So when I run my test now, it should still work. All right. So this is deprecation messages. That's for now not important because we deliberately are using an older version. So right now we have refactored our handler to use the value object instead of the entity for deserialization and for our making of the entity itself. You can also refactor this to be a factory pattern, so you can actually create a comment factory and then create, and then put it in there if you like the factory pattern. I love the factory pattern, but for demonstration purposes in this, it's not really necessary to convert that all. But then you separate the creation of entities and objects from the controller, and that's nicer. You don't want to make your controller responsible for the making of your entity, while you can delegate that to a factory instead. But for now, this is okay. So now, what we're going to say is, okay, you subscribe to this. So when you get an event with this, go towards this deserializer, and I think we're almost ready to test this. So let me check in the bundles.php if everything is all. I think yes, it is. Okay, we also I also included, I see already, the event bus bundle and the command bus bundle added once. And I added the bridge bundle towards the bundles.php. And then all is true, so it works for my testing, which is okay. But we're not going to use the testing environment, we're going to use the real environment, because we're actually going to consume stuff from AWS. And we do that by using the console command that actually is provided within the library. So I need to create a copy of this file. And I call this .env.local. But right now the .env.local will act as my local environment. So it will use that environment, the environment variables from this file for my local environment, not for my testing environment. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into the Docker container. So you do docker ps. What we're going to do is we get the PHP container. Oh, I need to copy that. And then we go to docker exec -te /bin/bash. What this does is we execute the a command on the Docker image. This is the Docker image where we put the command on, and the command we're actually running is the bin bash command, so we can actually use the bash within the Docker container. And TI are options to for interactive and stuff, so you can actually use it. So this is a very handy Docker command to use, because it allows you to get into the container itself. So let's clear. And in this Docker container where we are right now, we can do bin console. And SQS service does not have version 1.0. Okay, so we have to use a different version for the SQS service. So let me check which version we need to use. All right, I've checked the version we need to use, and the version should be 2012 11.05. That's the version of the API that we're using. So let's see if this works now. It does, perfect. And in this bin console, you see that we have this bnavara simple bus consume. And this will actually allow us to put up a, it will allow us to actually consume messages from the event bus. Normally what we do when we're releasing this adapter towards like AWS or to our hosting provider, we use what's called supervisor to basically check that bin console command every time for us. So you consume a message with the bnavara simple bus consume command, and supervisor will actually make sure that command is run every time. So you can literally consume messages every single second. For now, we're going to do this manually so I can demonstrate the process. But remember, if you want to use this method within your production environment, use something like supervisor to make sure this command is run every now and then. All right. So what happens when you do this command? It will probably ask us for a URL. Oh, I'm sorry, bin console. Paste. Enough arguments, missing queue. As you can see, we have to provide a queue. Command and queue. So consume. The queue is, I think, the URL from the queue. I think it wants us to use this name and then have this as the QArn. Am I right? Let me check. This looks okay. It doesn't seem to connect to the database. So let's fix that real quick. Let's go in here. Docker host internal 3407. Why doesn't that work? All right, so the connection didn't work because it couldn't find our MySQL database, and that's because I have this host Docker internal thing over here, but it should be 192.168.1.16 because host Docker internal doesn't seem to work on Ubuntu. Well, it does on Mac. So let's see if it can find the database right now. Oh, my mistake. This one. So let's see what our database looks like right now. Refresh. Info. And as you can see, we have 3 comments inside right now. Hi YouTube, hi YouTube, hi Gap. This one is from our test because if you see the what's it called? The where are we here? The request we do is hi Gap from the stream. But the other one, hi YouTubes, those are from our events on the bus. So let me verify that because we have this working right now and this event will still keep on consuming as long as we want to. So it consumes and it pulls AWS right now for us. So let me just go back to the API. Let's put a comment that says, hi everyone who is watching. Save that, let's run that. And as you can see, this works. And it should be consuming right now also. So when we refresh this data store over here, how do I refresh? I always forget how to refresh this, hang on. Ah, there we go. All right, and now we have a new comment ID for hey everyone who is watching. So it works, it simply just works right now. That's awesome because now we just post a comment towards AWS with our API and our handler actually picks it up from AWS and puts it in the data store, which is amazing because when we go towards our API right now and we go run the API, I probably have to put it on a different Docker port. So let me just put this one on 8001. And this is correct. It just doesn't need to connect now to this instance. It doesn't need to create it because we already have an instance running. So let me just comment this out. And yeah, this is fine for me as well. So let's see if I can actually make the Docker from the API run simultaneously as the Docker from the adapter, which is something I've never done before, so I hope this works. Docker compose up. So there's depends on DB, which isn't defined. Oh yeah, oops, I'm sorry. What? There we go, there we go. All right, this seems to be working as well. So if I go to my local host right now, let's say 8001, then it says, yo, welcome to Symfony 4.4, because we didn't specify main page in the API. But if I go towards the API, check out the routing, the routes, and then we post a comment like we did last time. I think we used Postman for that, didn't we? Doesn't matter. I thought we used Postman, but we didn't. Anyway, we just post a message towards this post comment functional thing, like so. We use a test for that, but this thing is running, so we can actually use the real environment right now, which is doing because we're using a functional test. So post endpoint test. We're not using the endpoint creates a event on the bus test, but we actually just post a comment towards the thing itself. And when we do that, we immediately check out because we know the data store, we know ID 5. So when we go towards the API over here and we say comment, and I think it was just ID. No, it's not. Hang on. No route. Let me check. Comment. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Comment. That's no route for comment. It's API, right? API comment. There we go. All right, now we get the JSON response back for hi everyone who's watching. But if we go to 5 right now, it doesn't work. So we go back to 4. We run the API. We sort of test or mock that someone pushes the submit button on the comment post mechanism. So a comment is being posted towards the endpoint. We run this, and within a matter of seconds right now, that comment should be available. There we go. From the data store. And this matter of seconds, it went towards AWS event bus. It got processed by the adapter through the consume command over here. It's being stored in the data store, and literally at almost exactly the same time, the API can retrieve it from the data store to actually show it. And that's how you make a microservice that's not dependent on the read-write of the data store, that's singular responsible and uses an event bus to create events on a bus that could be handled by other microservices as well. So thank you everyone for watching this. We got this full circle thing right going on. Next video, I will actually add the possibility to edit existing comments, which will showcase how to actually refactor a microservice. And we will maybe in the wrap-up talk a little bit about security as well. But right now we have literally done what we tried to make, which is making a full circle API microservice or adapter and API microservice that pushes comments towards a database and retrieves the comments from the database. So we're in the main scope done. But next video we'll go a little bit deeper and try and refactor some elements and talk a little bit about security, how to secure your endpoints. So thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like these videos, because more will come. Like I said, I will push the code from this adapter to Bitbucket as well. I might change to GitHub later, but for now I'm using Bitbucket because I'm familiar with that. If you have any questions or any comment, let me know below. And as always, have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.